I'm unhappy. I feel unfulfilled. I don't feel in alignment with the way I'm living. Why are those not valid enough reasons to leave situations and spaces that are not bringing you the peace that you desire? Why does it feel like we have to explain ourselves over and over again when it comes to choosing a path that doesn't make sense to modern society? Why isn't saying this doesn't feel right to me enough? I've been reflecting on these thoughts and have been thinking a lot about how we live in a world that is so disconnected from intuition, from emotions, from sitting in silence, and really just making space for your soul to speak to you. Everything seems to need a reason, some type of logic. But why? As an artist, it can be overwhelming at times when the very thing that makes you happy and keeps you alive is the very thing that constantly seems to be undermined and invalidated. There was a point in time when I severely suppressed my creativity and intuition. My whole life was centered around logic. I was doing life the quote-unquote right way, or so I thought. I graduated at 16, went straight to college with plans of becoming a pediatrician, made sure I had perfect grades, made sure I was as close as possible to what a lot of this world thinks a success is. And at the time, it felt like I was doing everything right. My environment reinforced that belief. I received lots of validation and praise from teachers, peers, my parents, what felt like the world. So in my mind, I thought, surely this is the best option for life because everyone is telling me so. I didn't recognize at the time that my entire life was being driven by the validation of others. My voice became so buried, I forgot I even had one. Over time, though, I began to slowly hear my own voice again and started to feel a sense of unalignment with the life I was living. It was subtle at first, but soon grew to the point that I felt completely out of place in the life I was living. It just didn't feel right. I was uninspired, unhappy, and it felt like I was destroying that little bit of creativity that existed within me. I felt like I needed to leave my environment. I felt like I needed to leave university. Trying to express these feelings as they were occurring was difficult, not only because I wasn't really sure of what I was feeling, but also because of the responses I would receive. No, don't do that. You're almost done. Just suffer now and enjoy life later. I can't even count how many times I heard those phrases. At a point, I just stopped expressing how I felt and just decided to carry it alone. I felt like a majority of the people around me didn't really understand the extent to which I was feeling unfulfilled. Or maybe that reason just wasn't enough. Maybe I still even believe that. But this feeling only persisted and grew over time, so much to the point that I had to start believing that unfulfillment was enough of a reason for me. Because why would the right place for me feel so wrong? The moral of the story here is that your intuition, feeling unhappy, feeling unfulfilled, is enough of a reason for you to leave. Literally, it is. The validation that you are holding on to and that you are afraid of losing will never amount up to the peace you will receive when you finally say fuck it and live life in the way that feels aligned to you. Most people won't understand or validate your intuitive decisions. People may disregard what you're saying, try to steer you in a different direction, try to make you feel guilty, or just completely ignore you. But it's important to remember, as an artist, a creative, a human being, listening to your intuition, truly listening, and taking steps that align with the truth of who you are, what you feel inside, and who you're becoming will never lead you down the wrong path. I find myself coming back to a sentence I read not too long ago in The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. It said, "Art is beyond ego, vanity, self-glorification, and need for approval." These words have brought me a lot of of comfort even now when the weight of feeling misunderstood and unseen is especially heavy. Because not only is the art that I create beyond the need for approval, the life that I'm creating and living is as well.